All right, we are back. The Crave Show. You're listening to the Crave Show with Chris and JRuss, and we got a special guest this week, Mr. Ray Kubiak. How you doing, Ray?
Oh,
Good to see you, man. Thanks so much for joining us. JRuss, how you
yeah.
doing?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to hear uh, the. I mean, I knew that I wanted to have Ray on, and it was easy to ask. But it came to the front of my attention because I'm not much into social media. But Steph, I got up for coffee yesterday, or the day before, and Steph's like, "Oh my God, you got to see this thing that Ray posted that he called his rant," and
I realize
it
that's your
was
briefings, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was kind of, I don't know how you describe it, Ray. It was like, why do you want to hurry up and sit fly or something like that, and just Ray going off on Rayisms and having luckily been around for a few of Ray's rants, I really appreciate it and thought, you know what, I need to get in touch with him and we need to get him on the show because that was great.
What was the rant, Ray? Can you give me the?
I was watching a group fly of military dudes, and they're in their sit flying in the broken balance point, and I thought to myself, why do you want to sit fly so damn bad? Like, because you back fly with your head like here, your arms way back here. Why do you want to sit fly so bad? And I don't know. I came out of the tunnel and I grabbed my phone and I went into the classroom and I just did that rant, And I even sidebarred with one of my homies there. I was like, "Yo, should I post this?" But I almost didn't even post it, And then he was like, "That is funny as hell." Yes, post that. I was like, "All right." So I posted it. But I've had a real struggle with social media, to be completely honest with you. I don't know. I'm 46 now. I've been doing this for a hot minute. I don't need to be in the limelight as a good flyer. Like, I'm validated there. I don't feel like I need that anymore. Um, there was a time in my life where I for sure needed it on a daily basis, and but um, I been struggling. Like I got these social media platforms. I'm not doing anything with them, and then
Hmm.
after I did that rant, it blew up and it messed me up, dude. So I had to do another one about how it messed me up, and then that kind of like snowballed into like, please do more rants. That shit's awesome. And I was like, all right, I think maybe I found something. And is it gonna last? Is it gonna last a year, or hell, is it gonna last a month? I don't know. But I got some shit to say, and I don't mind saying it. And I really, if you ask anybody, they'll tell you, Ray like to talk. I like to talk, but I like to talk about this shit. Anything else, if I'm ever talking about any other subject, I'm full of it. Like I'm just totally blowing it out my butt. Like I don't know. Like I, you know. So, but
Well,
what you guys are doing is exciting. Was checking out your website today, and that's an awesome idea. Like I love that idea. So,
Thanks, man.
but
Yeah, we put a ton of work into it. A lot
yeah,
of work.
that's
A lot of
amazing.
effort.
can we just back up a little bit though? Because
Yeah,
Yeah.
as epic as I know Ray to be, I don't know if everybody's gonna know the story of Ray because as he said, like there were back in the day, 10 or 15 years ago, he was competing and kind of being in the industry, and right now I feel like he's quietly just doing his job and being a father. And so, Ray, if you don't mind, would you just give us a little, I don't know, a brief history of Ray, like where you got going and kind of this? I remember a good story you told about kind of checking out through the window of Flyaway and that
mm-hmm.
making a big impression on you, and just sort of, the people that are going to listen now and later, maybe they can catch up with who you are.
Sure. When I was 8 years old, the preschool I was at visited Flyaway in Las Vegas, and man, they put us through a class. They talked about the activity, and now I'm in the gallery peering through the window. And I see a guy, I hear the thing turn on, and it's so loud. It's like a helicopter landing. And this dude comes into the chamber there, and he's got big baggy suit, and a helmet and everything, and I have no idea what's about to happen. Through the minds of kids, right? I'm 8 years old, no idea what's about to happen. I've been fully briefed on what is going to happen. I have no clue what's going to happen, right? And that guy flies in, and he flies right up to my window, and he does one of these. Peace. And he does a backflip off the wall, and I jump back from the window, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I look over here like this, and there's 2 girls standing over here, or 3 girls. One of them, her name was Rosie. She was my girlfriend, and she's not paying attention to what's going on. And she's just sitting there gabbing away. And I thought, you are dead to me. You're dead to me. Like, what? What? And so then, fast forward, I'm like 16 years old, and I see an ad in the paper for Flyaway Indoor Skydiving reopening. And I was like, that place was real? Like, it was like I hadn't thought about it since then. I was like, that was real? No way that was real. Like, so I called that number immediately. I was like, yo, you guys hiring? And she goes, you sound young, sweetie. How old are you? Which is illegal to ask, by the way.
Nowadays.
For the record. No, I mean, just in general. I guess in a job interview, it would be illegal to ask. So she asked me, and I was like, I'm 16. She was like, are you in school? I said, yeah. She goes, well, why don't you finish school and then come get a job with us? So I was like, bet. Well, life happens. I graduate high school. I'm managing a band. I say managing. I was a roadie. I carried lights and ran the light machine for them. I ran into Tony Spataro, and I was like, "Yo, what are you doing nowadays?" He's like, "I work at the indoor skydiving place, Flyaway." And I said, "Dude, you hear this all the time, but you get me a job there?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "For real?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Bet, like, sign me up." So I filled out an application. They called me in for an interview. I came in a maroon suit, looking sharp, looking like I was about to go clubbing. I didn't know what I was doing. And found a common
maroon
ground.
suit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It was like a maroon suit. I didn't have a tie. It was like this black shirt with like these. It was like a Henley shirt. Like, I don't
Just
know,
look like a pimp walking in there.
dude. I looked like a pimp bull walking in there. That's for sure. Like acne and like I was rough. But I found common ground with the guy who was managing. I was in DECA in high school. He was in DECA, and we nerded out. And he was like, "Sweet, I'm looking for a front desk person." I was like, "I'm your guy." And I spent like 6 hours as a front desk person. I was like, "Yo, I don't know if this is for me. Let me do that other thing." And he was like, "All right, hey, we're gonna start the instructor program." That's how cool he was, Like, we're gonna start the instructor program for him. So then I started getting amongst it. I was like 19, so I'm 46
And
now.
then,
So whatever that
yeah,
math is.
that's, yeah, 27 years. So you, if my memory is correct, you went from Flyaway and then you went to Eloy? Is that right?
I went from Flyaway to Ogden, Utah.
You did go to Utah. Okay.
Yeah, no, but Ogden, Utah didn't have a wind tunnel. This is the
Oh,
craziest. This is the craziest thing. Like, I lived where they built that tunnel in Ogden, Utah. I rented a spot from Brian Wallace and the drop zone owner of Skydive Ogden, and it was one block away from an abandoned, like a strip mall that failed, like a mall failed. Like, it was just a pile of rubble. It looked like it got hit by a bomb. Like, the parking garage structure was all tore up and decrepit, like downtown Ogden. It was wild. And I would skydive through the summer, and then I would go back to Vegas in the winter and work in the wind tunnel. And we jumped back and forth doing that for a while. And I came up with this idea to build a tunnel. I was like, I'm going to imagine that, right? I said, I want to do this, but at that time I was smoking some weed. I didn't have much ambition going on in my life. So, I was sitting there, smoking weed, hanging out with the girl I was hanging out with, and she was like, yo, you ain't gonna do shit with this. Do you mind if I run with it? And I was like, yeah. Right. In the meantime, Axel Zoman and I went to Vegas. We took a trip to Vegas. Rest in peace, Axel, homie. And the whole point of that trip is I wanted to hire Axel on as our general manager, right?
At the Flyaway.
At the tunnel, at the Sky Venture that we wanted to build in Arizona.
Okay.
Right. And there had been rumors for almost a decade that Arizona was going to build a tunnel, and I was like, dude, we're going to build one in Arizona because that's going to be awesome, right? And we pretty much designed the current system that is currently in Arizona at the time, or right now on Sky Dive Arizona. Words are hard. It was a 14-foot circle. We designed like that. We picked the dimensions of the fans or the dimensions of the motors. We wanted the power a little bit more gusto. I wanted to have the shit, and I wanted to fly skydivers. I was done. I wasn't done with first time flyers, but man, I was burned out on first. It wasn't the first time flyer experience I was burned out on. It was, man, I had some shit to say, and I wanted to make ninjas, man. Like that's it. Like, and so I was going at first time flyers like I was making ninjas, but like they don't care. Like they want to have a good time. Like, they're on vacation, man. Like make me look cool. Let's have fun. Woohoo! Like keep me safe. Don't let me get hurt. And I had that on lock. So I did that. And every once in a while, a skydiver would come in and they'd be like, I want to learn this. And I'd be like, fuck yeah. Like, so I coached for free for 10 years, prior to ever working in Arizona. And I didn't know what I was doing. Like, the suits were so baggy, you couldn't tell what body positions were doing or, all I really knew at that time was like relax, breathe, that type of coaching. But for the most part, it was like isolating muscle groups. I knew that part, and I started learning about internal and external pressure, right? And one of the rants I recently did was about the internal pressure of the muscle contraction to the external pressure of the wind on your body. And once I separated that, man, I knew how to do it. And I was the first person in. And this isn't a bragging thing, but I was the first person in Flyaway in Vegas. I have to specify that. Not the first person in the world, but the first person at Flyaway in Vegas to fly static head down. Like, Vic Papadato, he was a popular skydiver at the time. He was the cameraman for Troy Hartman, who was a sky surfer. He did Stunt Junkies on MTV. You remember him? Remember these
Yep.
names? Vic Papadato was sitting there. It was May 9th. I know that because he died on May 10th. And I know that because May 10th is my birthday, right? Forget that around Facebook times. May 10th, don't wish me happy birthday. I'm getting too old for that shit. I'm a grown man. Thank you. Anyway, he was watching me try to fly on my head, and he looked at me, he goes, hey man, when you get on your head, look at me. Because I was like looking at the net and like really just delivering pizzas, right? And when I looked at him, it adjusted everything I was doing with everything else. And dude, I just stayed there for a second. Like I stayed there. Like I flipped over to my head and I looked at him, and it was the first time I held head down in the tunnel. And the suit was so baggy, it burnt. We used to get suit burn, like in the corners of our hands here from the suit flapping against our skin, right? It would take. You ever do that thing when you're a kid with an eraser and you take the skin off your yeah, dude, that's so dumb. Don't do that. But the suit would do that to us, right? And man, I earned that scar, and like I'm so sad that it healed up because for years I had it, and like I might just buy a cigar and and make it happen again. I might just make a fake one. You know what
Just
I
gets a
mean?
car lighter.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, and just be like,
just
that shit happened.
just to kind of keep us on track. At
Yeah.
some point, you went to Eloy, you designed a tunnel. At some point later,
So we fell short. We fell short on the promise, right? So like we were told that if we came up with the 5 million, that they would match the other 5 million or 2.5 million, whatever it was. And we fell short on that. The girl fell short on it. I blame her. Um, I wasn't really in the process. She had hired Axel on. That fell through. The second we had the rights to Arizona, though, the Hills wanted it, you know?
Mm.
So it was like, well played, Alan. Well played, my friend. Well, because, I mean, shit or get off the pot. They're not getting off the pot. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, somebody else got the rights to it. She sat down with this dude, and she got annoyed at the fact that he wouldn't address her. Like, he would talk through Alan to talk to her. This is hearsay, right?
Mm.
And she called him out on it, and he walked away from the table, and then we lost. We had to then sell the contract to the Hills, and we did.
Mm.
And they kept pretty much everything. For the most part, they kept almost everything that we had come up with, to include Axel, right? Axel was already a sponsored athlete with the drop zone. It totally made sense that he takes over that role, right? And he did, and thank God he did, because he hired me, right? And then so I didn't really care to own a tunnel. I just wanted to be in Arizona, and now I'm like Skydive Arizona at the Mecca, right? And so much stuff was happening back then, and I'm so grateful for it, because I didn't have to grow up in an era of theory, like train to an expectation, and then maybe 8 months from now you'll actually get a sit fly student. It was like, no, dude, like we had head down students out the gate, and we're all a bunch of level 1 instructors, you know? Like they came back and a bunch of people were head down, and they almost pulled every single one of our ratings. They were like, what is going on? And I was like, you're not being realistic right now. Like, we're Skydive Arizona. Like, Jeffro, you telling me Jeffro isn't going to pick this up quick? Curtis ain't going to pick it up quick? Like, that's crazy. Like, they're going to pick it up fast. And we're a bunch of level 1 instructors, level 2 instructors. And I'd been doing it for a decade. So it was like, all right, you're going to pull the rating, or get me some upgrades, because we got to get this going. And Larry Hill pushed in my favor and got me my T4. And that was helpful. And Davey Manning was working that charge, and so was Punisher, Mickey Nuttall, and we had an awesome crew at an awesome time. And from there, I went to Paraclete XP, knowing that I was going to eventually be in Virginia Beach, because I did a coach course, a military coach course. I'm sorry, I realized in skydiving there's an actual coach course that they call the coach course. I went to one of the Bob Pizzini was in there, and he saw potential in me, and he asked me if I would come work for him if he built a tunnel. And understand that I don't even think he had a business plan when he asked me that. And at that same time, there was like 2 or 3 other people who had also asked me if I'd move to Virginia Beach. So by the time he asked me, I was like, look, dude, I ain't holding my breath, but if it's right, it's right. He ended up calling me a couple years later and was like, yo, this is happening. We got the funding. This is happening. You still in? And I said, yeah. Hell yeah. I'm ready. And I moved to XP. Shit went a little sideways for me. I made some bad decisions in Arizona, and I didn't lose my job, but it was better for me to, like, I was gonna lose my job. I made some bad decisions, and then they made some bad decisions, and it was like they made some smart decisions. They made the decisions I would make, but it cut into my livelihood a little bit, so I needed to move on, right? And we ended up moving to XP, which was a enclosed system. I wanted to learn more about that because I'd never worked in one of those, and that was an awesome time. I was there for 2.5 years, and then learned what I could about that, and then moved to Virginia Beach. And
So just to back up, because Ray said something that I just want to make sure is clear to everybody, the original tunnel design, as far as Orlando, was an open air, which means it draws raw air up from the bottom and then just spits it out the top. And Eloy was designed in the same way, as was Paris Valley in California. And then Denver was, I think, the first recirc. Am I right about that? I think Denver's the first one where there were return towers on the side, and because most people are just, if they haven't been to Eloy, really they're not familiar with an open air tunnel. Everybody gets recircs now, so just to clarify that's what he's saying, that Paraclete is also a recirculating tunnel. It's the 16-footer in Rayford, North Carolina, and it was a new technology at that time.
Right. And you got those louvers that would open up inside the return air towers.
Yeah.
So it would make the wind really turbulent. So at times.
And the open air towers.
Now that we're in a fully enclosed system, you don't get that turbulence anymore. It's so nice. Because Eloy, man, one time, you got time for a story? I was in there, and my student was sit flying in front of me, and we sucked up a level 4 freaking dust devil right up into that bitch, dude. And I couldn't see my student for shit. I couldn't see him. So I just walked in there with my hand, walked in there like a zombie, like, I know you're in here. And I grabbed him, and I pulled him out of the tunnel. Boy, we were tore up, dude. There was sand everywhere. It was crazy. And what was crazy about the sand? Well, yeah, go.
It's an open face time. Like there weren't really full face helmets in the tunnel, right?
Yeah, no. I didn't have no full face helmet. You kidding me? What's a full face helmet? A factory diver? Like,
yeah, I did this.
Yeah.
Like you can't coach in those. It wasn't until Cookie came out with their helmets that you could wear a full face in the tunnel, because they all, like, your mouth was covered.
I was wearing a gaff helmet where you pull down the visor. You remember those badass joints, dude? Looking like a
I had one of those.
Player.
Yeah.
Looking like a COD skin.
Boba Fett.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed that. That was dope. But yeah.
Okay, anyway, so now you are at iFly Virginia Beach. You are the trainer there, as you have been, I think, to my recollection, at least 10 years, maybe longer than that.
No, not longer than that. It's about 9 years. Yeah,
9 years.
We're our 10th year now.
Okay, but you've got some things coming up on the horizon. So I don't know. I mean, the questions that came to mind when I thought about having you on, I mean, I knew we would ramble, and that's awesome. But your feeling on the current state of tunnels in the United States, and then I think that dovetails really nicely into the project that you've got going, that hopefully we can talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, before we get into that, I just want to caveat real quick for everybody listening. First of all, we've got a good audience. It's a good audience for us. We got 10 people. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked. I think it's because of you, Ray.
Yeah, it is.
You brought all these people. This is super cool. So everybody in the audience, thank y'all so much for joining us and listening and being a part. Couple things real quick. I just want to give a shout out. There's a guy creating an app. It's called Skydiver Pal. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I just want to mention it again. If you have a chance, go check out his app. He's working really hard to put together some really cool stuff for the skydiving community. So please go check out his app, Skydiver Pal. You can create a free account. He wants as much feedback as he can get from people. He's really trying to improve it and make it better. So check that out. And the next thing, if you haven't been listening to the show before, or haven't listened in a while, we really want to provide value to everybody in the audience. We want to give you guys information that's helpful and beneficial. We also want to goof around, have fun, tell stupid stories and laugh and have a good time. But part of what we want to do is give good, valuable information. And one of the ways we'd like to try to do that is, if you're in the audience, if you would ever like to share stories or things that have happened to you that you want to get some free coaching. We want to try to do that. We're trying to figure out ways that you can, as an audience member, send us a video in advance. We can watch that video and pull it up during the show and have you come on for a few minutes while we look at the video, offer some free coaching and feedback and tips. So that's something we're trying to do and trying to get going. So I just want to put that out there again for everybody. We hadn't mentioned in a while, but check out the Crave website. You can go to the show and kind of see some more information about how to do that. So, all right, cool.
Chris, just before Ray gets going, which will hopefully be awesome. Somebody asked if there's a link to that app that you could post in the chat.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, Ray, you got the floor. Let's hear it. State of affairs of wind tunnels in the United States or the world. Let's hear about the world. How are tunnels going in your estimation?
All right. Everybody shits on iFly, you know? And I think iFly has done an awesome job of creating enthusiasts for this sport. But tunnel time is too expensive, man. It's too expensive. It costs so much. And for what we're paying, like it could be so it doesn't have to be as expensive as it is for the enthusiasts. And I've said this in multiple podcasts now. If you had a tunnel that had if you had a spot that had two tunnels, then back up. Current state, single tunnel, discounted tunnel time. Bunch of people that want to pay full price. Cool. Sorry, dude. You can't fly on Saturday. You can't fly on Sunday. You can't fly on Friday. You can't fly on any holiday. You can't fly on any time that we might have. You can't fly in the summer. Like, you can fly, but like it's gonna, like, you can't plan it. Like, you're gonna have to sit on the bench. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to see. Hey, do you mind sitting over there? Because you're taking up too much space over here. You know. Oh, we can't sell you anytime. What do you mean you can't sell me anytime? The tunnel's off. A lot of this stuff happens currently, and it's causing people to have a bad taste in their mouth for iFly, and I think I get it. But man, I'm also a tunnel instructor, so I see this side of the fence too, and I'm like, man, God, if you only have an instructor working, like, how are you gonna? You can't do all of it, right? Like, if you pay people more, maybe you'll have more than an instructor working. That's just my case, you know. Like, how do you lower the price of tunnel time and increase the pay for instructors so that's appealing for people to want to work at a wind tunnel? That's a hard one, you know. How do you increasing the pay of an instructor doesn't cut into your bottom line at all. Like, lowering the price of tunnel time doesn't cut into your bottom line at all. You'll just sell more tunnel time. I promise you, you're going to sell more tunnel time, right? Our concept is we want a 2-tunnel facility. I want to be able to cater to mom, pop, and the kids, because that's the man. Not for the money, but for the dream, right? Like, you got kids flying. How
Can I pause for just a second again?
Yeah.
Just to catch people up, because I don't know if everybody is aware, but Ray has a business partner, Cameron, who I think is listening. There is a Cameron listening. That would be a heck of a coincidence. Cam McMahon. Yeah. And the two of them have been working for years now on a business plan to basically they are going to open their own tunnel facility. And I don't want to do too many spoilers. I'll let Ray do it, but it is a dual tunnel facility. And I believe the plan is to be at the site of Pigeon Forge, which is where the Flyaway is or was, that will be decommissioned. And then their facility will take over that space with an absolutely huge footprint as far as the facility and what they can accommodate. But and I think, again, a skydiver tunnel and and a first-time flyer tunnel that'll be separated. And so as Ray is talking about this, I just want to have everybody have that sort of background information of that this isn't just him talking about what would be nice. This is the plan that is going forward at this moment. So carry on, Ray. So somebody asked in the audience, where is it located? Pigeon Forge is in Tennessee. And Cam just posted a link to, is that your stuff, Ray, or the old
flyawaytn.com?
I only saw it for a split second, but
it says flyawaytn.com. That's the new website, Cam says. Perfect. Okay, so you can go there if you want and check out their plan. So carry on, Ray. As
we have a 17-foot tunnel, which is for enthusiasts, and it's subgrade, so it's not at ground level. It's you enter the tunnel through the bottom, like there's another door for tunnel enthusiasts, or members, or military, or whoever else is visiting our facility at that time. JRuss is coming to do a camp. Man, you got the show. Your people want to string their shit everywhere they can. You want to listen to rap music, you can. Like, this is your tunnel, and you're not interrupting the other show. Like, I compare it to having a Cessna drop zone. You have a Cessna drop zone with 182, and your drop zone does a good job of doing AFF students, but then it's difficult for that AFF student to then get to their A license once they're on that cheaper ticket, because you don't own your aircraft. You're ferrying it in from a state over, and you have 50 tandems lined up for Saturday. I get that. That fun jumper doesn't get it, and they're on the bench with the other fun jumpers that are bitching about how. So that's the situation I flies in. That's how I feel about it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so at current iFly, they get paid really well from first-time flyers, and they don't make nearly as much money off of return flyers like skydivers, so their preference is to take the bigger paycheck when they can get it.
It has to be. From a business standpoint, it has to be, right? From a let me put it this way, from a traditional business standpoint, it has to be. What I want to do is, I'm actually, quite frankly, just sick and tired of the people that actually love this and they're willing to like commit $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 yearly to this thing, getting treated like second-class citizens. And it's like, man, and that's where it's at. Like that these are just, this isn't my opinion. This is like, so how do we do it? How do we do it different? Like, how do I offer an affordable tunnel hour while also fully catering to the first-time flyer as well? How do I cater to both fully? Like, how do I? The only way that we've come to is that you kind of need two tunnels to do it, and that is a laughable. That's a laughable pie in the sky idea. You know,
but it's happening.
Anybody that was at their wind tunnel today and it was sitting dormant would be like, how are you going to run two wind tunnels? It's like, well, we got a plan for that. You know?
Yeah.
Boat tunnels don't have to run 24 hours a day. That's the crazy part. You don't have to run a tunnel for 24 hours a day to make money. And if you have two of them, if you run them both for 6, you just ran for 12 hours a day. And you did that in a 6-hour period. And it didn't really cost you more in electricity. You know, we got the thermoelectric going on in Tennessee. We got the cheapest freaking electricity in the country for the most part. You know, I don't know if it's the thermoelectric. Cameron would have been able to speak better to that. But there's an awesome energy plan in Tennessee, and it allows us to make tunnel time a bit cheaper, and then it also puts in, and this is the part that's kind of unspoken. What is the pathway for an instructor? You become an instructor, you get to a T4 instructor. Cool. What does every T4 instructor want to, or an I4 instructor want to do? Level 4 instructor. They say, I want to go down the trainer path. It's like, why? So you can make hundreds of dollars? You're making thousands of dollars right now. You want to make hundreds of dollars? Go down and train pit. Like, what do you mean? It's like, well, once you're a trainer, you're gonna train people, and then they have to take people, right? They need to gain the experience. So if they're taking the people, how are you making money? You know, I like to categorize it into, like, you got the grinders. The grinders are the people who are flying those first time flyers and earning their slot. Quite frankly, you're earning your slot. Like, you're going from visitor in my world to occupant, right? If that makes sense. So you're going from a visitor to somebody who is doing this professionally, and I want to be able to provide people with that opportunity. And I want to be able to provide people with the opportunity to sell tunnel time for me at a reasonable cost, and then be able to make their money on top of it so that they can have a career. So when I hire that 18-year-old kid, and now he's 26 and he's got a kid and he's got a mouth to feed, he's got a way to do it, you know? And it involves him, him or her. I'm an equal opportunity employer. I would like that person to be able to grow, but I can only provide the opportunity. It's an old saying, man. It's an old saying. I think Jesus said it one time. It's like, you can lead a horse to water. You finish that one. You know how it goes. You know?
It would have been a camel back then.
Right. You can lead a camel to water.
That's
and
awesome.
so that's I fly. That's Flyaway in a gist. We've had some setbacks for sure. This is a marathon. We're in a marathon, right? And the project has blown up. It's gone from $1 amount to like a crazy dollar amount. Like, the people that we have involved now, the setbacks that we had some ill-guided like advice that we listened to a little bit close. And man, thank God for you, man, because that was eye-opening and needed for growth. And I appreciate you, and I don't hate you for it. We have a new dude that's helping us out, and he says, man, it's hard to find a dollar amount. We're right in the window that it's hard. It's a lot of money, but it's hard. It's easier to find 3 times or 4 times that amount of money than it is to find that smaller. I know, it's crazy. So it's
I've heard the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yes, it's turned into an adventure resort. Like, it's a whole hotel now, type thing. Like, so we'll just leave that out there. But we're still looking for investors. So if you win that Powerball and you're looking to invest a little bit, I got a spot.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of questions that I'm dying to ask, and I'm assuming the audience is as well. First of all, do y'all have a ETA when you're hoping to open?
You know, we did, and we blew that timeline.
Okay.
And it was quite embarrassing, to be completely honest with you, if I'm being transparent with it, because it was like, man,
dude,
when we started the journey, it was like we had everything lined up the way we wanted it lined up. And when the dude that we were working with kind of like pulled the rug out from us in a way, I'm not fully blaming him, but like, it was a hard hit, you know? It blew our timeline a little bit. So I was like, we had done that podcast with Dean, and it was like time to announce it to the world. And it was like, man, and the excitement was so high for everybody. And it's like, I want everybody to hold that excitement, like hold your excitement, and know that somebody's working on it. Like, I'm working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it every day. Like, we're working on it.
Dude, don't be embarrassed. I mean, the little bit that I've been exposed to business and all the stuff I'm trying to do, it's hard, man. It is hard.
Yeah, it's a marathon.
You know,
that's why people don't do it.
Somebody, one of my mentors, he told me, he's like, just go ahead and accept the fact that everything is going to take longer and cost more than what you think. Like, that's what it's going to take longer and cost more. So, my next question is, What one of the tunnels is going to be a 17-foot,
Yes,
and what's the other one?
a 14-foot.
Okay, dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome. A 17
Yeah.
and a 14 together. That's so
And
cool.
enthusiasts will be able to. Enthusiasts that are training for a 14-foot, they'll be able to fly in the upstairs one. You know what I mean? It's just like, come
Sure.
on, be respectful to the. And we're gonna have a slow season. We're gonna have a season where it's like, you'll see posts that are like, "Yo, you're in the area, discount.
Come get
like,
in.
You know, like we're dumping hours today, like
Yeah,
$300
dude, maybe we
Come on, yeah, stuff like
we can
that.
have a crave camp over there. Maybe
Hell
we can
yeah,
have a
that'd be
crave
dope.
camp once you guys get opened up.
Yeah.
And then my other question, and you probably don't know the answer to this, but what do you think you guys will sell the time for, or that's still up in there?
Yeah, that's up in the air. It depends. Yeah,
That's fine.
I know who does know, Cameron.
No, I don't want.
Cameron,
I mean,
post it in the comments, son. See, I got my boy
Nah.
on lock. Like, hey,
and that
hey.
may not be information y'all are ready to share, in a position to share with much accuracy. That's totally cool.
Ray,
no,
just because
I mean, like we're pretty accurate. Like we're pretty sure. A lot of our numbers are running off of like you can't. Oh, I thought that was Cameron. A lot of the numbers that we're working off of, that is the prime. Like that's the prime number, right? Like you need to know what that is before you can come up with your spreadsheet of all the other numbers. Like, what are you selling your product for? All right, cool. How many hours are you selling? Cool. Or how many hours do you expect to sell? You know?
Yeah.
Like when you're making.
So for anybody,
you need to know.
Anybody not watching live or looking at the chat, Cam just typed in that most pro flyer or member time will be sold at around $600 an hour. So that's cheap tunnel time.
That's
in my
very good.
opinion.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Especially for a 17-foot tunnel, JRuss.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
he just saw that. Yeah. Read it.
Yeah, pricing will be dependent on the amount of time purchased and frequency of time purchased. So that I mean that's kind of in line with, other tunnels. You buy a lot of time, or you're there all the time. They know they can count on your business, and the price is adjusted accordingly.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
Ray, I'm curious. All of us are familiar with the sort of the state of the tunnel industry in the U.S., and it has been something of a stranglehold for iFly, and certainly for people in and around the industry, and myself included, that has felt like an intentional effort from them to keep competition away. And if there's no competition, that leaves them free to make policies that we have seen, some of which don't make as much sense as others. One of them, that you kind of alluded to, of like, hey, you can't fly on the weekend, you can't fly on Saturday, you can't fly on a holiday, and some of the rules that people at their local tunnels have had to live by. So I'm curious about a couple of things, as I'm hoping other people are curious. What kind of pushback do you guys expect from iFly Corporate as far as your project going forward? And then sort of a follow-up question, which I can repeat later. How do you guys feel about the amount of goodwill that you're going to get? I guess, are you counting on people being really excited to go to your facility because you're welcoming skydivers sort of back?
That's a lot.
Sorry, I'll repeat whatever you need.
Yeah. So the first part of it, let's break that down a little bit. I'm sorry, can you repeat that a little?
So yeah, the first part was, about the lack of competition currently, that iFly has basically brought lawsuits against.
Just a little clarity on that. What do you mean by competition? Do you mean other tunnel facilities, or?
Yeah, any competing technology, as of, for instance, for the people who are unaware, ISG, which is Indoor Skydiving Germany, was about 10 years ago. Jason Peters and Andy Malchiotti had invested. They're pretty big names in our sport. They had invested with ISG. There was I believe there was a lawsuit that got started, and I'm not very much in the know on exactly what was going on, except what I kind of chatted with those two guys, and it was eventually settled, I believe, that ISG agreed that they would not build a tunnel in the U.S. for 10 years, and iFly had threatened to sue them in Europe for patent infringement, and whether or not they won or lost that case, all tunnels owned by ISG would have had to be closed pending that outcome and the unknown status of it. So however long iFly could drag out the lawsuit in Europe, that was the amount of time that all ISG tunnels would be non-functional. And so the agreement that was reached was that that tunnel that was, I believe, going to be Phoenix area would not happen. So with that in mind, my question was, what kind of pushback have you gotten, or are you expecting, or whatever you can? I don't know how much you want to say, and that's okay.
We're transparent. I'm totally cool with it. I don't expect any.
Okay.
And this is why we're not infringing on any of the patents, and everything has been checked already on Stornia's part. So.
And what's the technology that you guys are using?
We're using Cam. I keep calling it Stornia, STRL group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Okay. How do we know them? Is that Hurricane Factory or?
No, that's
Tetralandia. What's the
Hurricane Factory?
Is it Hurricane Factory?
Yeah.
But
Windor, I mean.
Yeah.
So
okay. Windor.
Cool. If you look at their first technologies, like from Prague, it's not the same. Where the World Games takes place, that's one of their technologies. They have over 30 tunnels built. They're getting it pretty. They got it on. They got it on the level. Yeah.
Chris, have you flown in a Hurricane Factory tunnel?
No, I have not.
So it is different. It's and I have a funny little anecdote here, because I went with my team to the one in Prague, and Timmy,
that's probably the
McMaster.
Example,
I mean,
going to Prague
old tunnel. So anyway, Timmy, my teammate, had flown there and said, "Okay, we were going to team train, and we're going to team train, and it's going to be normal. It's a great tunnel, but he's like, it's different in that an iFly tunnel that diffuses, gets wider as it goes up, the pressure drops, or the power drops. So when you go to do a back layout, you're kind of trying to reach for the roof, or trying to reach for the turn vanes, or whatever it is. And then when you come down to the net, the pressure really builds during that constricted part." And Timmy was like, "Hey man, it's totally opposite. It's faster at the top, and it's really mushy at the net." So anyway, we pull up, and there's a competition belly team training, and they're at I want to say 44%, something like that. What? Yeah. And I'm looking at the driving booth, and it says 44%. And I'm like, geez.
Does it have a wind speed on there or no?
Didn't have a wind speed, but they're adults belly flying, and it's 44%. So we get in, and they originally gave us, I think, 72 maybe. And I think it was too fast. And we said, no, how about 71 or something like that, which is crazy. That's a normal belly speed for VFS. And so we're all flying vertical, and none of us are tiny people. I mean, Steph's pretty small, but so then we come out and we do our 10 minutes, and we've got more, but I said to the instructor, I'm like, "Hey man, can you just get me topped out and let me go fly?" And he was like, "Nope." Bro, I've been an instructor a long time, man. Just let me go feel it. He's like, "Absolutely not." He's like, "Nobody, not me, not you, nobody gets 100%. And so they gave me 80. Okay, all right, I'll take it. I'll just go fly it. And it's now been, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes since Timmy warned me about how the tunnel functioned. And I laid out, and I slammed into the top so hard because I put my feet up to the turn vanes. I could barely walk for a week. I hit my foot so hard on the top. And then when I came down and hit my belly, I forgot it was mushy, and I about cheese grated myself on the net. And Timmy's like, "Yeah, man, good tunnel instructor there. You just showed them that you needed 100%.
Right. Dude, you imagine
how tall of a tunnel is it?
At the time, it was, it wasn't super tall.
40 feet.
but there's
the
technology's different.
The technology that we're using is way different than that. That's like their first gen. You know what I mean? Like they're
Well, this is cool. Cameron, he said bigger motors running at lower RPMs means healthier equipment. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That kid's
Which
full
is
of
similar
shit.
to like a car that I mean, we don't need cars that go 200 miles an hour, but if you make a car that can go 200 miles an hour at 55 miles an hour, it's going to be very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
okay. So no pushback. That's what you're expecting.
The second part of that answer for no pushback is, man, this, from everything that we've heard, when it happens, it's going to happen rapid. You know?
Yeah.
You know, have you ever heard the saying, I've said it a bunch, but like, have you ever heard like sometimes it takes 10 years to become an overnight success? That's business,
sure,
man.
I've heard it.
Like Cameron's put 6 years into this. I've been with him for almost 3, you know? And when it finally happens, it's going to happen quick. However, if it takes a little bit of time, the patents are going to be up anyway. It wouldn't be worth the fight. On their end, it wouldn't be worth the fight. You know what I mean? And I never want to be on the outs with iFly. Like, iFly has been great to me. Like, they've never paid my bills, but like, thank you for developing technology that we can use in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be mad at them for stopping the other technology from making it into the U.S. I kind of like want to defend them and be like, yeah, what would you do if you felt like somebody was stealing your technology? Boris didn't lose that lawsuit, though, for sure. You know, he was faced with the situation where he was trying to save Europe. Like, they said, hey, you're going to have to shut down all your tunnels. He was like, I don't want to have to do that. Like, I know I'm in the clear, but it's like until they ruled in his favor. So then he settled. And when he settled, the ink wasn't even dry on the paper, and the commission came back and said, hey, yeah, you won that lawsuit. Or you won that. We favored in favor of you. And by that time, well, I can't build in the U.S. for 10 years. Like, so.
Which is, it's got to be almost expired as well.
Like, he will. Yeah. Shit, he will. There's no doubt in my mind he will. I want him to. Come on, dog. It isn't going to hurt. It isn't going to hurt nothing. It's only going to make everything better. And if it forces the current to say, hey, we need to price adjust, and you know what? As painful as that's going to be for you to do that, you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the outcome from it. I promise you. As a professional in this industry for a long time, you're going to love the product. You're gonna love the increase in everything. Like, when we can start paying instructors a little bit more, we gotta pay them more. It's ridiculous. It's almost criminal. Now with commissions and this and that, like, you got instructors, they can make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. That's respectable, you know. But the reason why people aren't starting is because the sticker shock of what we're gonna pay you an hour it's shocking, dude. Like, you know, if you got hustle in you, if you can sell some stuff, like, and what does that mean? Ask. It says, hey man, you want to fly again? It's $20, you know. Like, that's how you build your check while you're grinding.
Yeah. So
what you got?
Couple things real quick. Right, there's a question in the chat. I'm going to try to answer it, but you guys please chime in because I'm sure both of y'all know way more than I do. But it says, I don't understand what the patent and protecting the technology means. I'm sure it's a lot more complicated, but it's a few fans and a tube, isn't it? What's the patent that's being protected? So I'm going to take a stab at it, and then you guys fill in the blanks or correct me. I think it's most likely multiple patents. Not necessarily on the motor, right? Like you buy the motor from some company that makes these electric motors. I think what the patents are is more like the design and the shape of the components that actually make up the tunnel. Think about the tunnel as a circuit of air. The air makes its way through this circuit. So the way that thing is pieced together, even the shapes of those pieces, you know, what is called the inlet contractor, where the wind comes up out of the plenum into the tunnel, the way that the motor is housed in the tunnel and connected. And I'm assuming the shape and the design of the plenum, how, its size compared to the tunnel and the diameter, all those things, I'm sure the patents cover those types of things. There's probably lots of them.
Yeah, you nailed it, dude.
Cameron said the patent comprises the dimensions, uses, placement, and design of the individual pieces of said technology. Okay, so he said much better at what I was trying to say.
But you got it. I mean, what you said was pretty much that. He just did it in fewer words.
Yeah.
Okay, so I quite frankly think the way you said it was better.
So
I got it.
One more additional point, because Ray said this, and I mentioned it, but typically the duration of a patent is 10 years. And so I fly patented things, and then the duration runs out. And so there was an effort, as I understand it, recently for them to re-patent some of the technology so that there would be potential, I believe, for, again, protecting the ideas that they felt that they had a right to protect. And then some tunnels have used, as things, I mean, this happens all the time. People find their way around patents by doing things slightly differently, but then they still work. So they're currently, there's ISG, which is Indoor Skydiving Germany, which is a wind tunnel manufacturer. There's Hurricane Factory, which is the one that Ray and Cam are going through. There's iFly, of course. There's a Russian company, but I don't know if Tunnel Tech, cool. And then I believe there's one more. Where's Vertical Wind Tunnels from, Cam? Italy. Okay, so there's a guy named Tom's Ivan who goes to competitions, and he, number one, is an amazing. He's such a good flyer. Aerodium. There we go. Thanks.
Love his style,
yes.
Dude.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So that is a Latvian tunnel.
Wait, say his name again, because people are probably going to want to look him up and watch his flying. What's his name?
Tom's Ivan. So like Tom with an S and Ivan, and he competes in the solo freestyle. Tom's Ivans. Okay, maybe there's an S on his last name too. He competes in solo freestyle, and he has, safe to say, an incredibly unique style that's very different than sort of the flowy artistic stuff. His is always like the music that he picks is like fast paced and frenetic, and So Chris, there we go. His flying is super cool, and he does test flying for their new facilities, and I think he's an instructor, and just an all around great guy. But that, so we've got
style. I love his style. Like his style. When I started in Eloy, like I had that style because cause my shit was unique. It was different, right? Because of Flyaway, and we come from like the same world, you know, like where you can fall off this column of wind, like you got to commit or quit, son. Like, and it's just I love it. He does this weird, eggy, flip twisty looking thing, and it's so dope, dude. Like, Cam, send him that clip. Cam, you're Jamie. You're like Jamie on the
Rogan.
The Joe Rogan podcast right now. You're quick on it.
We'll have Cam come back.
We need Cameron with us all the time.
Yeah, dude. Like, Cameron's dope. I love this guy. Half the time.
Literally watching.
Watching do the flip. I mean, he does this like not barrel roll, like a cartwheel flip that he just twisty around the whole tunnel. It's crazy, and he just stays right on the glass, and they're great. So anyway, all I wanted to say was that we have a bunch of different tunnel technologies out there, that, especially as you think about Europe, which is a lot less lawsuit heavy than the United States, where business is a little freer to operate, that those technologies have been able to flourish in the absence of basically getting litigated out of existence. And I know, as someone, I travel international regularly, and we fly in all of these other technologies, and so all the things that you come to expect through having a competitive marketplace. which is sort of ironically the cornerstone of capitalism, is that the price serves the customer service serves the customer, the everything is built around treating the customer well. And I think that one of the things that the lack of competition has done in the United States is that we have a situation where sometimes I think the customer gets lost a little bit. And I know that 10 years ago, when I was hearing from Jason and Andy about their potential project, and now, I worked a military contract in Virginia Beach, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I got to work with Ray and Cam, and I got to hear in pretty good detail about their project, and see the plans, and they walked us through they had sort of a virtual tour, and Steph and I got to look at all of it and hear about it, and definitely it seemed great to me to hear that the focus was hopefully again on return customers and first-time flyers both having a great experience and being treated as if they are wanted at the facility.
Yeah, man, dude,
yeah, I don't know.
It's very
I don't...
exciting and encouraging. Like, you make me want to go. I'm like, I want to go work with these guys. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, you do. Don't be dumb. Anyway, but I mean, again, I don't want to shit on iFly. I think that there's a period of performance where I like saying that term, like period of performance. It kind of puts everything in its own little box. Like while I'm in this little box, this is what's going to be acceptable. We're going to move it a little bit. We want to be a part of the IBA, very much, but we also want to adapt. I want to bridge the gap between Europe and America. I love what Europe's doing with their flyers, man. They produce amazing flyers. Like, I love it. Like, and I also think that the IBA is doing what we need to do in America, because we do get litigated out of our, they'll take everything you have, so we kind of need both sides of that coin. And I would love to actually make the International Body Flight Association international, meaning not international from like state lines and like countries, but from facilities, like we're a non-iFly who is also following underneath the IBA, I'm not looking to make enemies in any way. We're not taking anybody's business in Tennessee. Like, you don't have a tunnel in Tennessee. If you put one in Tennessee, it would fail. So, like, let us do it. Like, that's our spot.
Hey, so what do you guys thoughts right now is like for outside coaches? Is that going to be?
Outside coaches need to be vetted. And I want to put them on the payroll in a way.
What does that mean?
1099 them. You know what I mean? Every hour that they sell, I'll give them a kickback. That way, and then they choose. Do you need an instructor, or are you going to make sure not to hurt anybody in my wind tunnel? And if they're like, I got this, then they got it. You know what I mean? I schedule a driver for that day, for that wind tunnel.
Oh, Cameron said, bring them on.
If they're not comfortable, if they're like, hey man, I've been out of the game for a minute. It's like, hey, you want to practice? You want to practice some of these spots? You want to train up? If they're like, hey, I strictly just want to come and coach, I respect that too. I won't 1099 them. They won't get a kickback for the hours sold, and I will. I'll provide them with a tunnel dude, and so. But
I mean, just in summation,
these are vetted people. This is just like Johnny 2 times that's coming in, and he's like, hey man, I'm gonna coach this guy on his head. It's like, the fuck you are, duh. Like, you ain't coaching that dude on his head. I don't know who the hell you are. Like, where do you work? And then he's like, oh, I work in Kentucky. It's like, all right, cool, dude. Can I call people you work with? Like, I need to vet them. You know what I mean? It's a process. And then there's dudes like JRuss where it's like, man, JRuss, here's the keys to this bitch. Like, don't break nothing. I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, fully trust them. Like, so. And there's another waiver. There's a different waiver. That's the issue. We need another waiver. We need an enthusiast waiver, right? That says, hey, I understand what I'm doing. Like, I understand the risk I'm about to take, like, fully. What was that last question? I kind of popped up for a second.
No, that's good.
No, that's
but
okay.
What Cameron just said, he said, stop thinking wind tunnel and start thinking training center or specialized gym. Man, I like that. That's really nice.
So just to elaborate on what Ray just said, I think we talked about this, and this is something that's been kicked around the industry in the past as far as the wind tunnels, that you sign a waiver to fly right now in a wind tunnel facility. It basically covers, like, you're going to wear equipment. It's our equipment. If you've had shoulder dislocations, if you're pregnant, don't drink alcohol. Just a real standard waiver for the people who come in off the street and they want to fly in the tunnel. They want to have a good experience, and it sort of covers the basis for the industry, for the tunnel. However, one of the things that's been discussed for a long time, I think, at least it's something that I've heard about a long time ago and discussed, is a second waiver, that you basically have gotten to a point where the instructor's ability to spot you is diminished. It's not zero,
Right.
but it's diminished.
No, it's actually zero. Like, it's actually zero. Like, the shit that you're doing in there, unless you fall out the door and I'm standing in the door, it's zero, dude.
Right. And so the waiver basically acknowledges that you are requesting that freedom in the tunnel to continue your skill set progression, and the tunnel is granting that and saying it's not that we're just letting you go to the wolves. We're still going to try, but you're flying at real high wind speeds and you're doing things that our ability to help is diminished. And so that would be like at some arbitrary point down the road that okay, maybe you've reached these check boxes, say, just to borrow from the IBA, you're past level 2 on belly and free fly. Once you get past that, here is your another waiver, because you're going to start doing things where we can't help as much as we could have before, and you need to acknowledge that you are wanting that.
That totally makes sense.
You want to hear something crazy?
And I've thought before, it's kind of like down the street here in the town I live in, down the street, there's a skate park.
Damn, dude.
Dude, it's so like
I was just going to say that. State-funded skate park.
Tell me that's not dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
State-funded skate park with no check boxes.
Nothing.
Doesn't care what you know. Doesn't care what you know. It doesn't matter what you know.
It doesn't care how old. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care anything.
They have a sign up that says "skate at your own risk."
Yeah,
and that's all
you go out there,
and it's okay. And kids get fucked up there. Minors, without parents' permission,
and it's fine.
To the skate park, smoke, cheaping on the herbs. Right? They're cheaping on the herbs. Bow, bow, bow. And then they're skating. Bam! Now my ankle's broken. Like, you ain't suing us. Like, it's crazy. Like,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta shift gears just a little bit, because I'm so interested in, and it's connected. But you've been an tunnel instructor for, what did we say, 27 years?
Say 26 or 7 years. Let's say
you 25. Keep saying 25, but when you say 19 to 46, that's 27, Ray. I'm not a mathematician.
Let's say 25, bitch. You
okay.
hear what I'm saying, JRuss? I will arm bar you, bitch.
Dude, I really want to talk with you for at least a few minutes before, and I'll sit here and talk as long as we can. But I want to hear from you about coaching. You know, like,
yes,
how to be a good coach. What makes a good coach? How can I be a better coach? Whether I'm coaching in the tunnel or I'm coaching at the drop zone, like, what should people be looking for? What, like, to me, that is so interesting. And my hope is that at some point in the future, in the near future, I hope that we'll have a course on coaching. And
all right, here we go.
And what I think would be awesome is if that course was kind of a collaboration of lots, because we have so many amazing coaches in just in the United States, not to mention, like you said, Europe. There's so many. If we could have a core, anyways. So can you talk about some of that stuff?
How do you get to be a good coach?
All right, here's what it is. Making instructors is easy. Making coaches is difficult, right? I do the 5 whys method with coaches all the time. What does that mean? You start asking them why. Like, hey man, why were you having them do that? And they say, and I keep asking them why. I was like, all right, cool. Why were you having them do that? And they come up with their answer. And if I know they're bullshitting me, I'm like, then why were you having them do that? And eventually, about the fifth why, they're like, I ran out of shit to say and I didn't know what to tell them. I was like, cool. If you run out of shit and you don't know what to tell them, stop talking. Stop talking. Ask yourself this if you're coaching. Do you care? Do you care about it? Do you care about them learning faster? Do you actually care about them? Is what you're teaching them right now part of a progression, right? Is what you're teaching them right now part of the next thing that they're going to learn? And if it's not, then why are you teaching them that? You know? I asked somebody, hey, I asked this, anybody who's worked for me, Cam can contest it. Have I ever asked you why? You know what I mean? Like, I always ask why. I ask why to students. I'm like, yo, why did you do that? Like, what were you thinking? Like not like what were you thinking, but like what were you thinking? Like, let me know. Like what makes a good coach? Somebody who is that knows why they're saying what they're saying. If you don't know why you're saying what you're saying, you probably shouldn't be coaching this person. If you don't know why, if you're just regurgitating some shit you saw the last coach do, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Like maybe it's not time. Maybe the time hasn't come yet. But if I say to somebody, hey, why were you having them? Why were you having, like, the dude barely knows how to backfly. Why were you having him stand up on the net with one leg up and like moving their leg around? He's like, because like their upper body's strong, their upper body's doing a bunch of shit, and their legs are completely asleep. And I thought that maybe if I could wake their legs up a little bit, then we get a little bit more action there, you know. And I planned on putting them back on their back safely, but like, you know, it's like, all right, cool, that makes sense to me. Carry on, dude. Like, you have a why, and you can defend it. Like, if you can't defend why you're doing things, then you're not a good coach. You're a regurgitation. You're a cheerleader coach. If you're just saying some shit to say some shit. If you have an agenda like, I gotta get them sit flying as fast as possible, it's like, why? Why you want to sit fly so bad, huh? Okay. Like to tie that back
The
in.
rant.
But I do the same thing for the coaches. It's like, hey man, like, please know what you're saying, for one. If you know what you're saying and why you're saying it, and you have the heart for it, like, you know why you're saying it, you know that they need to wake up their lower part of their body. And you're going to start from feet, and then we're going to go to legs, like the lower part of the knee, and then we're going to go to hips. You know, we're going to build that way. It's kind of counterintuitive. You can go the other way. You can go hips, knees, feet. But if the feet are messed up, like, that might just that's a harder nut to crack, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. You know, did that help?
Yeah. JRuss, you have questions along these same lines, or can I keep going?
No, keep going.
Like, as far as improving as a coach, like being better, do you have any suggestions or tips or things that you can tell those of us who, like, kind of like what you're saying, like, dude, helping people get better is just so fun. Like making ninjas, like, it's so enjoyable. And I want to help people. I want to, like, see people improve. And sometimes I question, like, am I helping these people at all? You know?
This is what's going to happen. You're going to get a student that's just a fucking ninja. Like, he's just a ninja. Like, you could have walked in there and said, fart in a cup. Like, and he would have been like, huh, and he would have nailed whatever move you were telling him. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have mattered, you know? And you're going to leave that session like you're the shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then that dude is then going to feed you what I call the coach's Kool-Aid. He's going to say, man, Chris, you're the best coach I've ever had. I was in there with JRuss, and then he's going to feed you some bullshit. I was in there with JRuss, and he was telling me some bullshit. And I wish he would have told me this, and you're the best coach in the world. And if you drink that Kool-Aid, you're stupid, and you're going You're going to fail in life. Like, it's just,
Your whole
it's
life is
hard.
ruined.
It's hard. No, I'm just saying, like every student does that because flying is hard. And when they're in their, the people are shopping for coaches, and when they get to a rough spot and they don't realize that, like, man, you can't buy 15 minutes and learn 5 hours worth of shit. You can't. And that's if you're a fast learner. And then people say, oh, I'm a slow learner. I was going to do a rant on this, but I'll do it right now. I'm a slow learner. It's like, no, you're not a slow learner. Like, how old are you, dude? It's like, I'm 50. Well, then you're not a slow learner. You're a dude that is learning at how a 50-year-old dude learns. Like, what are you basing I'm a slow learner off of? Like, do you have a Rolodex of students in your brain? Because I fucking do. And I'm telling you this right now. You're about average. You're running right in the mid. Like, right here. That's where you're at. Like, you're not slow. You're not fast. You're right in the mid. And furthermore, who cares? Who cares? I want to save you money, but at the same time, I want you to learn it. And if you don't think that you're going to spend every dollar you have, I sell crack cocaine for a living. That's what I really sell. You know, you're going to spend the rest of your money for the rest of your life doing these activities, be it skydiving or tunnel flying or whatever, or a combination of the two. Be prepared to spend all your money. Like, that's the way it is. But we want returns. Students want returns, and coaches feel that. So if you're going to celebrate the victory, you're putting yourself in a situation where you also have to celebrate the fail, right? And that's going to make you feel like you're a piece of shit coach, that you're just like, ugh. So if you know why you're doing it, you know why it fits into the progression that you're teaching them on the pathway to the goals that they have outlined in the briefings that you've had. If you are true to that and you're not just saying words because now words should be said, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, shit, this guy's in a soak period. The soak period meaning I can't really add another marble to his can. And he's putting good reps in on what he's doing right now. And the last thing he needs is for me to talk to him. But he's paying me to coach him, so I should probably talk to him. That I've just told the dude not to pay me when he gets out. I'm like, hey man, you're in a soak period. Now that changes. If I'm there, and my wife's expecting me to bring $50 home, son, I need that $50. No, but that soak period thing is it's a different thing. Like I'll let it ride. I'll let it ride 100% of the time. Like if I'm like, man, I'm on a soak period right now. They're on a soak period. I'm like, hey man. If the coach knows why he's saying what he's saying, and he's doing everything in his power to break through the smoke screen that's happening on the student, you know, and they're not overcoaching them or adding too much, and they really just care about that student, then they're a great coach in my mind, right? But they need to know why they're doing it. And if their why can't be held under any scrutiny, then yeah, feel like a piece of shit a little bit, dude, because you just ripped that dude off, and that's fucked up. And one of us could have made that money, so you ripped us off too. So back up, because it's on.
I like that soak period, that phrase. I'm going to start using that soak period.
That soak period is the shit, dude. Like, yeah. Sometimes, how much, like, if you get somebody, how much bandwidth, all right, I'll ask you guys, how much bandwidth do you think somebody has to learn a new thing? And they're like, and they have unlimited money, and they're like, I'll do as much time as I can do today. What's the number for you guys?
As far as a maximum in the day?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, I think sometimes people come to our camps and they're like, I want to do an hour a day. And generally, I'm like...
I'm talking brand new people. Brand new people learning a brand new skill. Not
I mean, if it's a brand new...
I'm saying it's a brand new skill. They're learning a brand new skill.
If somebody's a seasoned tunnel flyer, I would say they can do 30 or 40 minutes a day.
Right.
Spread out over the day. beyond that, you just get diminishing returns, in my opinion.
Yep. What you think, Chris?
Oh man, yeah, I think I probably would have said an hour, but now I just want to agree with JRuss, so I don't let down.
I would agree with JRuss. I would say about 45 minutes, man. It's like a 45 minutes. Like now, if they're doing stuff that if they're in a soak period, man, you soak all damn day because you know it, and because you know it, your body. That rant I did about internal and external pressure, man. If your internal pressure is just how long can you just flex every muscle in your body? You know what I mean? You're about to have an orgasm, is what you're about to have. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the neck is just like yoked out. Like, it's like, dude, that's called calisthenics. You're going to be buff as shit. Have you guys ever seen me in real life? I am not buff as shit. Like, if this took that kind of energy, I would be ripped. I would be be still your girl ripped. You know what I mean? Like I am not that. I am not that guy. I am skinny. I'm 6'3" or 6'2" and 175 pounds. Like so to kind of put it in perspective.
Well, man, this is awesome. We've been going for about an hour 20. I'm happy to keep talking. And JRuss, if you have anything else on your mind, or Ray.
I mean, we covered most of the ground. I think just because I really feel strongly that there's a lot of people out there who are ready for an alternative. I like if Ray, if there's anything like kind of last minute that we haven't talked about your facility, you know, Cam put in the chat that it's more of like how did he say it? Like a really nice
or a training
gym
center.
or a training facility. And like when we heard,
you know what I mean?
When we heard your business plan and you gave us that virtual walkthrough, like it's, I want to say it's 50 or 60,000 square feet as far as like the size of the facility. And there's multiple training rooms, there's multiple viewing rooms. And so, I mean, not to steal your thunder, I want to get some information out there as far as like what you guys are planning. Is there a restaurant inside? Is there a bar inside? Is there a viewing area? Is there a gym? Is there a pool? Like locker facilities? What are you guys going to be offering? I guess just to kind of get people as excited about it as I was when I heard your tour.
Everything will be outlined on the website that Cam provided in the chat. Look at that full gym recovery center, and I know all this, but the plans have been changing, and it's a lot. Like everything. Yeah. What do you want? You know, like, and there's other things still in that haven't been like fully committed that people are like interested in doing, and it's mind blowing shit. Like I'm not even gonna kid you. Like I can't even talk about it because I don't think it would be professional to talk about it because it isn't solidified yet. But some pretty mind boggling stuff. Like you're like you guys have that there? And it's like yeah, we're an adventure resort, dude. Like we have like build your adventure type activity. You know,
so I feel like maybe you guys have gotten into the idea of taking a tunnel facility, but making it, you know, there are tunnels, say the Poland tunnel in Warsaw, where you have it's a tiny restaurant, but it's super good. Like you're getting these really quality meals, and a cook that is a chef, not a, like, I don't know, a pizza that you throw in the oven or something. You can get a glass of wine, you can have a beer. And so to me, when I heard this, it was taking some of the best ideas from all over the world as far as these facilities and then putting it into one facility. And Cam typed into the chat for the people who can't see it. It's going to have a full gym and a recovery center, full service pro shop, all attached to a 4-star, 300-room resort, multiple food and beverage options. And if like one of the things about the Poland tunnel that's super nice in my opinion is that down in the bottom, I don't know, they have 4 or 5 little rooms where if you're a coach and you come there, you can they always put me up in a room. I never paid for a room. We were buying 60 or 70 hours in a week or whatever it was that we bought, and they just gave, hey, you two, the other guy I was working with, you can stay in one of these rooms, which was great. We didn't have to, like, we took an Uber from the airport. We're all set. Once we get there, we can have good food and a beer if we want, and we've got a place to stay that's right on the facility. And it
First
sounds
class,
like you
baby.
guys are, yeah, totally. And it sounds like you guys are taking that even to another level of we want people to come here, and competitions.
I want
And
people to come here. I want to vet
yeah,
the coaches, and then I want the coaches to be a workforce for me. I want you to sell my
yeah,
tunnel time, right? And when I say my, Cam is in that, you know, like I want
of
you to
course.
sell my tunnel time, and I want to pay you for that if that's the case, and I want to make sure you're comfortable, and I don't want you to have to spend any money. I want you to be fed, and I want you to be well rested, and I want you to sell my tunnel time, man. Sell the time. I need you to sell that shit. Like, and does it all come down to sales? Yes, it all comes down to sales because we're building a dream, and we need people to buy this dream. I need it. Like,
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of interested people who just want to, they want to go somewhere where they feel welcome. And
and they will be welcomed. Like,
yeah,
it isn't your money that I'm welcoming. It's like I want to give you a cheaper tunnel. I hate the word cheaper. I want to give you
better
a fair
value.
market value on the tunnel time, but I also want to extend that past coaches. I want, like, you're coming here to do 10 hours. Why not put you in a hotel room? Shit, what's that gonna cost me? You know what I mean? Like, it ain't gonna cost me nearly, like, I'm still coming out on top, you know? And then you walk away with, like, a red carpet experience. Like, I can't believe that shit just went down. That was crazy. Like, that was the funnest shit. That feels like I went on vacation. Holy shit. Like, you know? I want you to
Yeah,
be on
so
vacation.
I feel like you just said the term non-zero sum game in a longer way, but of like you win and we win, and it doesn't have to be antagonistic in the relationship. If you win, I win. And then Cam put in the chat, looking to break ground sometime in the first half of next year. Tunnel should be running within 12 months of groundbreaking. So if, of course, I think most people are comfortable with the idea that starting a project of this magnitude, there can be setbacks, but if it stays within that kind of a time frame, that's a year and a half for being able to go start booking time at your tunnel, which we'll hope for.
Yeah, so that'd be beginning of 2025, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions in the chat? How many people ended up being in the chat? 11?
10.
Right now there's 10 people total in with us.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Wait, what did Rula say? I just saw Rula popped up.
Said, maybe I missed it, but say the experienced flyer wants to fly in the smaller tunnel to save money. Is that an option also?
Fuck no, Rula. Back up. No, I'm kidding. I play Call of Duty with Rula every day, so yeah, that'd be an option.
Yeah.
That's less of an option. Listen, that's less of an option on Saturday, Sunday, holidays. Same rules I fly. Like, you know what I mean? That's our first time flyer tunnel. So
yep.
I'm not gonna bump a first time flyer especially if there's a 17-foot tunnel sitting there. But if you're a team that's training, if you're a team that's training, we're not restricted to the hours of this to that, you know. So you train outside those hours, you know. If you're willing to, I'll sell you tunnel time outside those hours. Why not?
Yeah. Cam
just
typed the same thing.
Flyers outside those hours because my grinders can't take it. The grinders only have, I don't want to work people past a 10-hour day. That's crazy. So
Cam said the more support we get from the people, the faster we can get this thing open. I don't know if Cam, I don't know if you can elaborate in the chat, or Ray, maybe you can just kind of, what does he mean by that? The more support we get from the people, what could that, because I wanted to ask, like, hey, if you guys think of some way that Crave can help you guys. Okay.
No, that's just straight money. Like there's a lot of investment that has to happen between now and then. So the project is big, and we have a lot of institutional money lined up. To give you an idea, to build like an iFly, it was like 10 million, and then to build what we wanted to do was going to cost like 20 million. And it was like, we put ourselves in a spot where, man, it would be easier to just find 5 or 10 million. We found that. We found about 5 million, right? And then it was $100 million for this resort type thing, And it's like, they were trying to sell me on this for 6 months, dude. I was like, you're telling me it's easier to find $100 million? Like, yeah, because the return on the investment is more. So if we have people that are willing to put in a good chunk of money, the investment's there for sure. Rather than trying to find 4,000 people that are putting in, $25,000. Like, that's too many. That's a harder road. Not an impossible road, but like, that's a harder road than like two dudes, that are like, hey, I got that money. Like, here you go. And for some reason, the 20 million zone is like really hard. And multiple business people have told us that, where they're like, dude, that's just a hard spot to get to. Because the return of investment for that is so small. So you add a hotel to it, and now it's like the return of investment's great. It's not just a wind tunnel; it's an adventure resort.
Yeah,
where
that's
people
cool.
come in and they can plan their entire vacation, right? They're like, hey, I want to do whitewater rafting on Monday. Hey, I want to use the rock wall facility and wind tunnel flying on Tuesday. Hey, I want to go horseback riding on Wednesday. It's like we set all of that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was just imagining, I had this like image in my mind of the back of the hotel or the wind tunnel is like this huge, like super steep hill where you can like actually kite and fly your canopy off that hill and like do practice landings and stuff like that. Dude, that'd be so sick.
Cameron, shut the fuck up. Don't say shit right now. Right. No, our new piece of property is crazy. It's like 6 acres down here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 7 acres up here. I think it's 13 or 14 acres. And this is 100-foot wall, or 150. All right, help me, Cam. Is it 150-foot wall? Anyway, yeah.
Dude, yeah. That's cool.
That is nice. Cool, right?
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so there'll be rocking there.
I got one more quick announcement for Crave. It's just a little side note. I'm super excited about this. It's kind of a little bit dorky, but I think it's so cool. We've got a guy from Brazil who is actually working on subtitles, Portuguese subtitles for all of the Crave courses.
Really?
So we're gonna have Portuguese available as well as English, and then hopefully, and that's why I'm announcing here, we're going to be looking for. I mean, we want to get this one, the Portuguese set up first, make sure we're doing it right, we can do it well. But then we're going to be looking for somebody to help us do French, Spanish, Russian, maybe awesome. Chinese or something. So I'm super excited. I feel kind of dorky being excited about subtitles, but it's so awesome. Like we're going to get a whole new group of skydivers that can access the content, man, and
that's dope.
And learn.
It's
dope. So cool.
So I want to point out that I asked Cam if there was a specific link for investors that they could check out the business plan. If anybody that's listening to this or watching this, and there is a link in the chat that goes directly to investment stuff. And then also it says, he said people can also email info@flyawaytn.com for more information. So that's info@flyawaytn.com for more info. So I don't know if I smudged my camera. Sorry. Just clean that up. Oh, that's better. Maybe I breathed on it. I was pretty close to the camera there. So. Yeah. So who in Brazil contacted you to do that?
Yeah, his name is Francisco. I can't remember his last name. And he's already started working on it. Actually, so if you actually log in to the Crave website right now, on the Big Way course, it's only one video right now. The welcome has English and Portuguese subtitles on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he's already worked through most of that course. And so we're going to be
Well,
working
there's
to
a
get all that added
Francisco
in.
that skydives. His last
Yes.
name's, I think, Caus, Caus. And there's probably more than one in Brazil, but there's a very big, dedicated contingent of flyers from Brazil that come to all the big way things, and yeah, just curious to see who.
His name is
who that is.
Francisco Fonseca.
Yo,
Fonseca.
you got to get that in French too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
We want
Spanish?
French, Spanish, Chinese, Russian. Yeah,
That wouldn't be hard to do.
Australian.
That
We could put it in
would be hard to
Australian.
find. Yeah, I don't want to say the C word. Like, for some reason, it still seems really dirty to me.
It's a showstopper.
Yeah, those C words. Like, I love the Australians, dude. Hey, is there anything else you guys want to know?
I mean, our podcasts have been normally about an hour, and this one is what, an hour and 35 minutes. So I think we're doing okay on delivery to the customer.
Yeah.
So, and we've covered a lot of ground. So, is there anything else you want to add about, I don't know, Rayisms or experiences in the industry, or
Yeah, that's
Or crazy
how many
stories.
flip twists can you do in sequence before you hit the wall? I think I saw 7 once.
Yeah, probably. But how long ago was that, JRuss? We've known each other a hot minute. I remember
That was a long
you
time
wearing
ago.
a shirt that said, you were in Eloy wearing a shirt that said, "Ask me about coaching." And I said, "Hey, what about coaching?" And you looked at me and you were like, "Fuck off." Like, but in a kind way. And I was like, I'm just asking.
You should have said ask, man.
Yeah,
Like,
the Colorado Tunnel. It was actually it actually came from Skydive Chicago, if you can believe it, because when I first started coming to Summerfest, which was like the second year it happened, so more than 20 years now, they had shirts for the instructors that said, "Hey, if you have a question, ask me." And I thought, what a great idea, like it just opens the door for questions if you have them, and here's somebody that's ready to help if you need it. And so I got the Colorado Tunnel to make shirts that said something similar, but Ray knew that was
you've always
nah,
dude.
That was the wrong way that
me.
information would have been flowing at that time or this time.
That was me being a hater, bro, to be completely honest with you. The way you responded was 100%. I was just like, who's this fucking guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't being nice. I was being snarky when I asked that question. Like, I deserved it. Like, I'm glad that we've been able to get around and get to know each other a little bit more, because that shit is funny. Like, man, it was like dog eat dog back there. Like, who's this dude? What do you mean coaching? Like, why would they ask you, Colorado boy? Like, but you showed up in a car that was wrapped in Colorado shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like, it was like, damn,
yeah,
they're doing it.
That was the gauntlet, the throwdown of the gauntlet in like 2008, maybe.
Who won that
2008,
again?
2007, and you were you and Jason a team, or you and Jeffro, and you were called Decades Spent?
Oh, yeah, that was me and Jason. Oh, did we win that?
I think you did.
Oh, I think we did. Oh,
he knows
great.
he won it. He knows. He just look at the scoreboard.
I won like 3 things in my life. So don't take it from me.
He's all, who won that year? Was that us?
Yeah.
It was the first gauntlet.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. Hey, man, I'm super excited about what you guys got going on. And if I can help in any way, please let me know.
Hey, man, thank you. Same for us. Same thing for you guys. Whatever what you guys are doing, if there's something we can do.
These rants that I'm doing on Instagram or whatever, it's totally outside my comfort zone. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, and for it's definitely not gospel, but man, I think that there's some valuable shit in there that really helped me learn how to fly and really helped me learn how to coach, like things that. And I got a rant that I'm going to go off on the students about here next, and then after that I'm going to go off on a little rant on the coaches. So
yeah, what is your is that it? Dr. Kubiak?
Dr. Kubiak, yeah. I made my Instagram because I didn't want to do Instagram Ray Kubiak because I didn't really want people following me at the time. I just wanted something that wasn't Facebook, because Facebook was like really family. Like, Facebook's different. right? Like the stuff I put when I post stuff on Facebook, I get bullshit from like people from high school and like everything. Like those are my like that. It's a different thing. I wanted to keep. I don't know what I was doing with Instagram for a while. I didn't have a direction ever. I never had a direction with social media. I didn't really know how to do it because I didn't have my why. You know what I mean? I felt like I would have just been a bullshit bad coach because I didn't know why I was doing it. And after posting that that video that's kind of set this whole little series off, um, I really feel like I got a why, and I really think that people want to hear the shit. And as long as people want to hear the shit, I'll spit it. You know what I mean? Like, and as long as I got shit to spit, I'm not gonna get to a point where when I run out of rants, because I'm gonna run out of rants. I only got about 1 billion of them. Like when I run out of those, I'm done. Like I'm gonna be done, and it's gonna make people sad. And I hope
There's a
they
lot
warn me.
there's a lot in there that I think that you can share.
Right. But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to go off on a rant about politics or about like, I don't know. What's that person cutting me off for? And it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to go all of the stuff that I'm ranting about. These rants aren't this isn't the first time I'm saying any of this shit. These are well practiced rants. That's why they're coming. Man, he speaks well. It's like, dude, I've said this shit a billion times. Like, I want to share it with people. Like you'll see in the comments, they're like, I remember during my coach course you said that. It's like, yep, because I say the same. I tell the same 20 stories every week. Like, and I see that they bring great value to people, and I get to practice. I still practice every day, wording it different, saying stuff like balance points. Like I don't say, hey, that body position is shit. I say, hey man, you've learned how to fly on that balance point, and it may come into play at some point, but if you want that to turn into a dynamic movement, we're going to have to adjust your balance point, and you need to feel comfortable with that. And I'm getting a good result from it, so, and I want to share that with coaches. I want to share that with people. And I'm not talking about I'm a 0 to 60 coach, right? Which means I coach people from the beginning to I'll teach you all the way through in face and out face carving type stuff. When you want to start doing dynamic flying, hopefully I've done enough. I've taught you how to pay attention to somebody outside of the glass, But when you wanna zero in and go from 60 to 120, I'm not the coach for that, right? And I'm not losing money by saying that, but I have coaches that will help you with that. I have coaches that specialize in that. They know the current rules. They know they know the modern thing. And my job while I'm coaching you from 0 to 60 is to not give you any training scars that are going to affect you when you want to go from 60 to 120, right? So, and I've gone to 120. I know how to fly at 120. Shit, I fly at 180. Show me. Anyway, um, that I'm talking shit. But I'm not the coach that takes somebody and makes them pretty or like makes them like. I don't want to say makes them pretty. Like I can make somebody. I make somebody pretty, but cuts that tenth of a second off, of their time so that they're in competition zone. Like I'm not that guy because I can't do it. Like, and I'm not gonna do it. Like I suck. Like I don't suck at dynamic. I can fly, but man, if you put me up against any team that's like super fast, like man, I'm busting. I have busting like this and that. Like that ain't my job. My job ain't that. Like that's a younger man's job and a younger man's pot of gold. Like, and I ain't trying to take your pot of gold, leprechaun. Like, I'm just trying to do my piece. And so that's what these rants are, the fundamentals. These rants are for fundamentals. And hopefully coaches are listening and they're like, man, that helps. I can take that. I'm going to steal that. That's dope. Hey, I never thought about it that way. Internal, external pressure. I never thought about it. I never thought about firm and loose and rigid. Like, I never thought about it like that. Like, it's like, cool. If I can help in that way, then that's my why. And if it's saving people time, learning, because when people quit, I know we're running late, but when people quit, it's like they've gotten to a spot where they've spent they've spent a significant amount of money and a significant amount of time, and they're not getting the result. And man, they do a session with me, and I'm like, yo, why does your face look like that? You know, tomorrow I'm gonna post one talking about screensaver mode. I'm like, you can't even control the facial expression you have. Like, what's going on? Like where's the bandwidth? Do you got enough bandwidth to think about that? Like, look cool, motherfucker. But I'll say that for tomorrow. You guys, thank you for your time.
Hey, where are you working in a tunnel right now?
Yeah, I fly Virginia Beach.
You're at Virginia Beach, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
And do you ever make your way over to Texas?
No. But if I ever do.
Well, if you can come over to Texas like around November 17th, 18th, 19th, we could all jump together.
Oh shit. Dude, I ain't jumped in a hot minute.
So
I would.
yeah.
Trust. My kids are at an age now where I'm thinking about it on a daily. So I'm like, hey man, my daughters are about to be 13. I'm like, hey, you're good. Like, if I take a hit now.
Your boy Rula put in the chat, how do you balance dynamic and static flying, both being their own discipline? Maybe we can answer that one and we'll tie it up.
Man, I don't want to ruffle any feathers with this one, but I feel like the beginning, when you have somebody who's stuck on, who hasn't yet learned, the difference between like, am I just really rigid and not controlling my body? They haven't learned the difference between the internal and the external pressure systems. They haven't really learned how to, all of those rants that I've been going off on Instagram. If they're on this side of those rants, then it doesn't matter what progression path that you're on, right? Like, because the fundamentals are the same. Like, you should be able to fly in whatever body position you end up in, right? Teaching somebody movement before they've turned that on is like teaching somebody how to drive drunk. It doesn't make sense. And if flying in a static position wakes that up, then immediately start having them move and they need to know why and how they're doing it. And if they don't know that yet, then it's not time to progress, you know? And static or progress or dynamic, as far as that argument goes, like, I don't really partake in that argument. Like, I'm 0 to 60, and 0 to 60 is all of the above. I'm going to teach you dynamic and static at the same time. Like, I want to teach you both. I don't want to spend 15 minutes of a 15-minute session with you trying to get you to fly on your head if your arms are stupid rigid and your legs are dumb asleep, right? I will spend 1 minute doing that with you. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the time working on maybe a back to sit transition and having you control your legs and not let your legs just blow out and delam from the wind. I got to teach you that part. I want you to be able to go from your, and hold that position. If you haven't learned that yet, then I'm going to teach you belly to back, and I want you to control that part of your legs. And when you start waking that up, I'm teaching you dynamic and static at the same time. But teaching somebody how to fly static at a high level for VFS, that's not my job. JRuss, that's your job. And teaching people how to fly dynamic isn't my job. That's Mike at our tunnel. That's Mike Sopko's job. That's Cameron's job, right? I will teach you. If somebody bought 10 hours with me, I'm gonna teach you as much as I can about the fundamentals while teaching you how to fly static, head down, so that you have a bearing, but I don't want you to stay stuck there. So I'm also teaching you movement at the same time, right? And not blowing out, not going from this position to that position, but like really learning like fly all these different steps here, right? Until, how do you change that angle? How do you change that angle? But you need to use the entire body to do that. You need to feel the wind on the entire body. If your upper body is smoking red hot and doing all the work, then your legs are asleep and dead and cold, then we can't progress on from there. It's impossible. It's going to be impossible for you to sit fly without smoking your shoulders and being that dude that I was talking about in the first rant. It's impossible. You're going to be the guy that's got all of his weight on his shoulders while he smokes them, and his legs are just dead and cold and along for the ride. Well, we need those. We need those for everything. And it doesn't matter what discipline you do, whether it's static or whether it's dynamic, you need to understand how this shit works and what's the difference between the internal pressure of muscle contraction and what the wind pressure is on your body. And if you know that, then there's no reason not to progress at a rapid rate. And that's what I got to say about that. I hope I answered Rule's question.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome.
Ray, we may need to have you come back again sometime, because a lot of this kind of like practical coaching, practical instructing, teaching, this is so interesting for me. And I think for a lot of people, it's really, I mean, everything we talked about tonight was awesome. I love what we did tonight, but that stuff's really, really interesting. I think to a lot of people. So we may need to find another time to chat some more if you're open for it.
Well, I hope so. Or I've wasted my entire life. So, you know what I mean? Like, I've spent so much time in this trade space and in that environment of talking to brand new people, and step one, first time flyers, how to negotiate fear, like that would be like how to negotiate fear, and then like how to apply, like how do you apply pressure to the wind, and how do you apply pressure to wind and like control it? Like, are you awake? Like, if you're not awake, it doesn't make sense.
So it might be interesting in the future if we have Ray back, just because Cam's been here the whole time, and Cam's also an instructor for a long time, I think, and I think his dad was also an instructor. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a second generation tunnel instructor.
Yeah,
11 years as an instructor, second generation.
That's
and
cool.
Also has a lot to say. And I mean, nobody's got Ray's style except Ray, but Cam's got a little different style. So
Yeah,
maybe,
maybe a awesome.
little collaboration on the next one. And also
cool.
It would be great to have them back potentially. And I don't know, after breaking ground or some, get an update on the project and how that's all going. Cause I know there's
anytime you guys want to chat, man, I'm game for it. I'm game for it. Well, like if it can bring a value and a benefit to somebody else, man. All providing a value for us. Yeah.
So there is a question. Yeah. There's a question in the chat that says, I want to hear Ray try to sell head-up video for VFS to JRuss. We actually don't have to do that.
What's head-up video? Wait, what are they saying? Head-up video?
I don't understand. What is he saying?
They're saying that they think the video should be in a head-up orientation instead of head-down. And so there have been a couple of people who have tried to do this.
All right, hey, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
The video flyer should be head up.
Yeah.
Listen.
I see what you're saying.
Listen. I always wondered why the fuck we do it that way too. Hey, I almost side with that dude. Like, what? Like, can't you just sit? Listen, can't you just? I think I know the reason. I think I know why. Because I remember when everybody started doing it, and it was like they're flying head down in like the cork out position, filming 4 people flying. You know what I mean? And it just didn't make sense to me that was like the orientation that people were flying in to do it. So I kind of get what he's saying, but I think the short answer is, at the time that VFS was invented, upright skills weren't as strong as they are now.
And that would be my first.
They're way stronger now. Like, people were less likely to actually cork out. They could actually film it this way, like, easier than it was to sit fly underneath. And it seems it seems ridiculous now because the upright skill set has gotten so much greater
Advanced,
since BFS was invented, right?
Yeah.
That like, but would you be able to tell the difference if somebody was sit flying underneath you and looking up at you like this? Would you be able to tell if it was that way or the head down way?
Well, for sure I would, because I've looked at it so much from the head down
Right.
perspective that, like, if somebody doesn't have their
Oh,
horizon lock
basically,
on and it flips, it like, or for instance, say, you know, Jason Peters or whoever is filming the head down record, their initial presentation to the wind is head down, and they get
right.
into the position that they want and they flip to head up. And as like a video debrief thing, it always, like, I need to stop the video right there and then reorient myself to where people are in the video. And it sounds silly, but like that flip kind of messes with your brain. So I don't know if Josh had a real serious question about me wanting to agree that head up flying. The reason that I would say it probably doesn't work is that it's so much more difficult to move with speed and accuracy when you're head up than it is head down. And it, even for really good head up flyers and the specificity that you need as far as where you're going to shoot from with VFS, and it's not just sitting in one spot, like you're moving all the time. There's very few skydives you can sit still. To think about getting someone to the point where, and I mean, I think that you guys would probably agree that even though the wind speed progression puts head down at the end, that head up flying is actually quite a bit more challenging than head down. I mean, once you kind of cross the barrier of learning the basic body position, that head up flying is a challenge. Sorry, it would change the burble. It would make the burble bigger, in my opinion, because there was a question that came through. But I think if you're thinking about moving with speed around a team and your radius is bigger than the size of the team, that it's still going to be easier to accomplish that from head down. But Ray, you can think about that before next time, and you can talk me into it.
No, I don't need. I was actually coming more from a spot of curiosity than authority, because that's not my wheelhouse, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, if I'm not talking wind tunnel, I'm talking out my ass. Like, so, like, I don't know if I said that or if we did that privately, but
yeah,
yeah, I think we said that before. Like, anyway, the
right.
yeah, that's interesting.
Well,
that was a good. Who asked that question?
Ace
Joshua.
and Josh.
Josh, what?
It
This
just says
doesn't say.
Joshua.
Josh.
We don't have last names.
Yeah, we don't have last name.
Josh
All right.
Chandler? Is that you? If it's him, it's. I was talking shit playing COD one night, and I was like, "Man, this is some."
He tried selling me on it this year.
Sounds like it might be Josh
It must
Sadler.
be him.
Josh Sadler, dude. Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, that was me talking
Josh?
shit, being like, I don't know why they don't do it upright, but that's not. Sometimes
Josh doesn't even care about that
here's
anymore.
one
He's
for
on the
coaches.
inside.
Yeah, this is one for coaches. Be prepared for your words to carry a lot of gravity, right? Maybe too much sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
too important.
I don't want my
All right,
words
well,
to carry gravity.
well, you've done it again. You wasted another perfectly good hour, 2 hours.
2 hours.
Listening to the Crave Show with Fikes, JRuss, and Mr. Ray Kubiak.
Cool.
Thanks so much for being here, man. That was really fun. I hope you guys in the audience got as much out of this as we did. Well, that was a lot of fun, man. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
That was a ton of fun. Thank you, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Ray. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Cool.
You guys
Thanks,
get out there,
Cameron.
get in the sky, get in the tunnel, have some fun. Blue skies, and Crave. Do more, be better.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.